Metabones here for an unusual review. You might remember when I said NDs are not my strong suit. I got a pretty good one from SLR Magic a while ago, but then I go out to shoot and I forget to pack it. Or even worse, I forget the step rings I need to use. And for that reason, I've been looking for alternatives. A while ago, somebody pointed me on Instagram to the Fotodiox VisileX ND Throttle EF to E mount adapter, which is a variable ND that sits inside the adapter between the lens and the camera, and I thought that was pretty smart. Recently, I was contacted by Bohush Blahut, who's Fotodiox's face on YouTube, and he kindly sent me a bunch of gear in exchange for one of my anamorphic adapters. And among that gear was the Fusion ND Throttle EF to E mount adapter. And since then, this adapter has been attached to my camera, replacing the Metabones. The reason why I prefer smart or automatic adapters with electronic contacts is because until recently I had a fairly decent Canon arsenal of lenses, which are all electronic, so I needed the adapter to control the lens aperture through the camera menu. And not so much for autofocus because I mostly shoot video, but controlling the aperture is key. Also, I rent my gear to a few people and I borrow to my friends, and they shoot mostly with Canon lenses. So if my adapter doesn't control the aperture or help with focus, they're useless to them. So smart is a requirement. The best thing about this adapter is the internal variable ND, no doubt. The Pro version of this adapter has a 1/4 of an inch hole for support, and it even has a geared control ring with hard stops for minimum and maximum filtration. It ranges from ND2 to 400, which means one stop up to 8.5 stops of light control. This adds another layer of control to your exposure, and a very useful one. For me, it helps keeping the shutter speeds down at 150. Here are a few shot samples without the adapter and with various levels of ND filtration, so you can check how it affects sharpness. The difference in sharpness is unnoticeable. I'm shooting with a 50mm at f2, but there is definitely a green cast. Not that I think that's a problem because it can easily be corrected in post. And at the maximum, and that's very extreme, there's a lot of blue cast and you can see sort of a shape in there, but if you go back just a little bit, you're fine. Having the ND between the lens and the camera frees me from filters and from forgetting the step rings. Also, it's an obvious choice when shooting anything daylight with the A7S II. That's why I keep it on the camera all the time. It also retails for $250, which is much cheaper than Metabones' smart adapter. And construction is solid. It's on all metal. It's pretty heavy, and it reminds me of a Russian lens, which is definitely a good thing. There are a few downsides though. I don't know if the weather is to blame because Vancouver's been kind of crazy lately with warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold. But I've noticed a little bit of grease pooling out of the control ring for the adapter. Nothing leaks on the inside, and it's just a very small amount, but it's still there and I can see it. The more concerning issue for me is that the electronic contacts make the camera go a little nutty with super tight fit lenses. This has happened with my latex mounts, which are pretty tight by themselves. So I think the metal on the mount is touching the metal in the contact, and that's short-circuiting something, and the camera doesn't work nice. It cuts by itself, or it doesn't let me press any buttons, but that's the only case that I've experienced any issues. None of my Canon lenses have this problem, and none of my other adapters, mostly M42 or the Rokinons or the Contax, none of them show any issue at all. The fix for this problem is really simple though. I just unscrew the adapter a tiny bit. And since the connection camera to the adapter is super fit, there's no chance that any of the parts like the adapter and the lens or the camera will fall off. So I just do that and the contacts misalign so no current passes through and the camera doesn't go crazy. It works perfectly. I've done it, I don't know, a bunch of times already. Even considering these issues, I'm very happy with this adapter. It's already part of my go-to gear kit already, and I thank Bohush for sending it my way. And so continues my quest for best support gear in this world of shooting anamorphic and shooting as cheap as we can. If you want more videos like this one, wait no longer and subscribe. And if you're here for anamorphics, worry not. I'm Chit and we'll come back to that subject next week. See you then.